They've withstood the test of time. But in some neighborhoods, the economic makeup has changed with the times. For Maryvale homeowners looking to improve the terrain of their property, but who are also struggling with making ends meet, Long offers help. But there is a catch.
We donate the paint and shrubbery and so forth, and one of the requirements is that the homeowner do the work, the painting and so forth. We furnish the materials. It's a well-known fact, if you get everything for nothing, you really don't appreciate it.
Even with Long's offer of a helping hand, some in the neighborhoods have neglected their homes to the point that it affects everyone in the community. And that's where this longtime Maryvale resident comes in.
Simply put, any community, whether it's Maryvale or any other part of the city, that whether it's 1 year old or 30 years old, always has a contingent group that want to live like bums. And no matter what you do, if you don't have some type of vehicle to force them to come along with the wishes of the community, they will live that way.
Downtown at City Hall, Phoenix Councilman John Nelson fights neighborhood neglect from his seat on the City Council. Nelson introduced 2 city ordinances designed to force homeowners to maintain their property. The reason why was quite simple.
We had neighbors that either had junk in their yard, they had cars in their yard, they had tires in their yard, they didn't paint their house, their yard was full of weeds and debris, which took away from all the property values of those that lived around it. The neighborhoods conform, they can patrol, they can report these violations, the city can go out and basically clean them up or take them to court and have the courts do it. And it's just another tool in providing the neighborhood something to work with to help themselves clean up their area.
It's sunup Saturday, Dwight Amory's day off. While most folks reserve the weekend to take it easy, Dwight and his colleagues at Maryvale Unite use this day of rest to catch up on some chores around the house. And most of the time, it's not even their own house. This morning is dedicated to cleaning up the yard of an elderly Maryvale resident.
There we go.
While the people of Unite are on a mission to never lose their community 2 miles to the south, this neighborhood struggles with finding ways to regain it. For most people, the sight of a vacant home defines despair. But this woman sees beauty and hope where others see none.
My name is Martha Garcia, and I've lived in this neighborhood for the last 23 years. And 5 years ago, I noticed a deterioration in the neighborhood that I had not noticed before. There were 49 vacant houses in 1/4 of a square mile.
Martha had an idea to reinvent her neighborhood. She organized an alliance between West Phoenix banks, federal agencies, and nonprofit organizations. This grassroots effort raised $2.5 million to buy and refurbish vacant homes in the neighborhood. Today, over 50 families reside in these once abandoned homes.
I feel very good about them because I believe that of the people that have moved here, they are probably our strongest families. They're really close-knit families. They maintain their properties to the best of their abilities. They do a wonderful job. And even the individuals that are here, where I'm at, are a couple that had never owned a home. And at 60 years of age, I mean, this became a reality. Their dream came true.
The specter of hopelessness begins to fade as Martha's vision of what her neighborhood could accomplish becomes a reality. Much of this neighborhood's predicament was the outcome of perhaps the darkest time in Maryvale history. In 1987, a weekly news publication reported that children in West Phoenix developed leukemia at nearly twice the rate of youngsters elsewhere in Maricopa County from 1965 to 1986. The issue became known as the Maryvale Cancer Cluster, causing panic throughout the community. 1,000 angry residents attended a public forum for answers, but at the time, no environmental studies had been performed to attribute the problem to. Longtime community leader Mike Morgan witnessed as the issue began to weaken the spirit from this once proud community.
We had unscrupulous business people trying to get our people to buy their bottled water and doing those kinds of things, and that plays on the psyche of a community. That had to be the single most difficult hurdle for us as a community to overcome.
7 years and many studies later, and no cancer-causing source has been identified. But real estate values in many areas of Maryvale never recovered. Local realty broker Claude Maddox has seen the effects of the cancer cluster issue firsthand.
It was a very bad time because it happened just at the same time that the economy was starting to go down, and the combination of this situation in that area, plus the economy going down, plus it was the beginning of what was a very long real estate downturn, immediately knocked 20 to 25% of the values off of some houses. I mean, there were people that were walking away from their homes. They didn't want to stay in the area. They couldn't sell their homes. It was just a very tragic and sad situation.
This hardly looks like the Maryvale so often portrayed in the media. Perhaps all the adversity the community has faced makes it stronger.
We saw that the neighborhood needed a little boost. Living in Maryvale, we always get really bad publicity, and we just kind of wanted to take back our neighborhood, essentially. So we formed Maryvale Unite. We have a couple hundred members. We're 3 miles wide, and this is just one of the things that Maryvale Unite does.
The efforts of groups such as Maryvale Unite have not gone unnoticed.
Well, I think they have a lot of courage, and I think they're standing up for their community and pulling it together, and that's what you have to do. And sure, they've got problems. All communities have problems. But the great thing here is that the people are standing up and taking charge of their community, and they're expressing pride in it, and that's what this parade is all about, and we're here to support them.
Events like this continue the healing process from the black eye Maryvale has received in recent years. But the one event that can be attributed to the area's turnaround was one that almost never happened. In 1988, Broadway producer Zev Buffman approached the city of Phoenix with plans to build a 20,000-seat concert facility on this stretch of land in the North Valley. But residents of the community protested the construction, citing fears that the facility would bring with it problems like crime, noise, and pollution. But this Maryvale man didn't see problems. He saw opportunity.
A week before the vote at council with respect to placing Desert Sky in the northeast community at Reach 11, I was contacted by a friend of mine who was a community activist in the northeast area. And he had indicated that there were so many problems and that a disapproval was imminent with respect to Desert Sky. I called Zev Buffman at the urging of this activist, and I talked to Zev at great length, and I said, Zev, when you're turned down at council, when that happens, if you want to do the process the way the community would like to have it done, we'd love to have you in West Phoenix. If you trust our community and you let us do it, we will get you a pavilion approved in our community. A day after the vote, which was unanimous against the project in Reach 11, I got a call from Zev Buffman. Zev said, we would like to meet, and we would like to know what this concept is about how to approach a community.
A year and a half later, a once tranquil 65-acre cornfield was transformed into Maryvale's pride and joy.
The magic of opening night is something that you had to experience. It was a magical night, and there were 21,000 people in our primary core, our primary commercial area, learning about something very, very important, because as we know from the demographics of every one of these concerts, the vast majority of these people come from the east of the freeway. And so they found out something that we already knew. The West is best.
Blockbuster Desert Sky Pavilion also provided a much-needed stimulant to the West Side economy.
What has it meant for us economically? The fact of the matter is, Westridge Mall went from the lowest in occupancy of all West Core developments to the highest in occupancy. We have 3 power centers. We have thousands of jobs. We now have a decision to make on where to go for fine dining, whereas before we had one choice, or we stayed at home in our backyards with our barbecue. We now have dozens of choices. That's what Desert Sky has done.
And along with the economic turnaround came a new sense of identity and prestige to a community that had taken its share of lumps.
What the community looked like and what the feel of the community was at the time the Desert Sky process went forward was a definite downswing. And if there is anything that I take personal pride in, and that a lot of us in this process is that we've got our people believing again in themselves and in their community.
All around Desert Sky, the crowd anticipates the start of tonight's show. There are other concert venues in Arizona that can hold the nearly 20,000 people expected here tonight. The problem is, those facilities double as basketball arenas and football stadiums.
The Blockbuster Desert Sky Pavilion is the only building of this size in the valley, and actually in the entire state of Arizona, that was designed and constructed with the intention of being able to host concerts. And there's some very unique aspects to the building which are very evident, and which ultimately we feel help creates what our guests will experience as being the ultimate concert experience.
It's hard to tell with the crowd up dancing, but there are 7,000 reserved seats and room for 12,000 more in the lawn at the back of the house. Even if you have the lousiest seat in the place, large screen video projectors with synchronized sound bring you magnified views of the performer. For the true concert connoisseur, it's tough to find a better place to take in a show.
My name's Darren Woodson, 24 years old, going on 25. Went to Maryvale about 7-8 years ago, I guess. And I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. My mother's divorced. She was divorced when I was probably 2 years old, so she raised us basically on her own. She's one of those ladies that, she was my mother and my father, to tell you the truth. You know, when I got in trouble with school, you know, sometimes she came down here to get me. Or, you know, when I was growing up in grade school, you know, she was the one who, she wouldn't let the principal come and swat me. She'd come down and swat me. So it was one of those situations where, you know, she was both my mother and my father, and she kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Oh, a definite win, without any problem. Hopefully. I say with my tongue in cheek, you know.
You don't believe what Buddy says, huh?
This woman hardly looks like the tough disciplinarian her son makes her out to be.
He hasn't proved it yet.
But Freddie's tough love had a lot to do with her son's success. Today, family and friends gather at a park in Tempe to celebrate Darren's return home. But this is a party he won't be attending. A few blocks away at Sun Devil Stadium, he prepares to go to work. This is a big day for Darren, his homecoming. Today, his 2-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys take on the Arizona Cardinals.
No, that's like my homecoming game, coming back to play the Cardinals. You know, I have to get a lot of tickets for a lot of people to come to the games, but it's one of those situations where I want to play well in front of my home crowd. You know, I'm back at Arizona State, and you know, I know a lot of people from Maryvale, the Maryvale area, going out there to watch me play. So it's one of those games where I want to stand out and play my best.
Maryvale has become a hotbed for professional football prospects. Darren is the fourth player to use the area as a launching pad into the NFL. The Friday night lights of high school football was his ticket to a college education.